At the dawn of the 20th century, one city stood as the epicenter of human ambition, where steel met sky and dreams turned into towering realities. Chicago wasn't just a city, it was a living, breathing testament to the future. But what if we could relive that moment? Do AI? By 1900, Chicago's skyline had risen from the ashes of a devastating tragedy. The Great Fire of 1871 had left much of the city in ruins, but it sparked an unparalleled rebirth. In its wake, Chicago transformed from a small frontier town into a booming metropolis, setting the stage for a new architectural era. The fire's aftermath created a blank canvas, where visionaries could design a city that embodied progress. Steel, a material once unimaginable for building, became the backbone of this transformation. The first skyscrapers began to pierce the sky, with steel frames supporting structures taller than any before them. The introduction of the electric grid in 1880s illuminated the city, bringing a new vitality to its streets. Innovations like the telephone and the first elevators allowed buildings to soar even higher. Architects like Daniel Burnham and Louis Sullivan reshaped the skyline. Their bold designs, marrying functionality and beauty, became the blueprint for modern urban architecture, an enduring testament to human ingenuity. In 1893, Chicago hosted the world's Columbian Exposition, a global event that captivated the world and defined the city's future. Designed to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Columbus's arrival in the Americas, the fair wasn't just a spectacle, it was a showcase of the technological marvels of the late 19th century. At the heart of the exposition was the White City, a collection of neoclassical buildings illuminated by electric lights, a sight never before seen by many visitors. The fairgrounds featured a fusion of science, art, and industry, with innovations like the Ferris wheel, the world's first moving walkway, and the introduction of the latest in industrial machinery. For many, it was their first encounter with the future, an electric world powered by machines. The impact on Chicago was profound. It not only secured the city's place on the world stage, but also ignited an era of rapid industrial growth, where the line between invention and reality blurred. As Chicago's skyline reached new heights, another revolution was quietly taking place on the ground. The dawn of the 20th century marked the birth of the automobile, one of the most transformative inventions in history. While Ford's assembly line would soon capture global attention, it was in Chicago that the seeds of this automotive revolution were planted. In the city's burgeoning factories, the first models rolled off production lines, forever altering transportation, industry, and American life. By 1900, the automobile had moved from a luxury item to a viable product for the masses. Pioneers like Henry Ford, who set up his first production facility near Chicago, embraced innovative manufacturing techniques. But it wasn't just about cars. Ford's assembly line would lay the groundwork for mass production, changing not only how cars were built, but how almost everything was made. Chicago, already a center of industrialization, was now at the forefront of an economic shift that would reverberate across the globe. By the early 1900s, Chicago's transformation was not just visible in its sprawling factories and bustling streets, but in its soaring skyline, a testament to the city's architectural revolution. With steel frames replacing traditional brick and stone, Chicago became the birthplace of the modern skyscraper. It was a city where the laws of gravity seemed to bend as steel and glass reached for the sky, defining a new era in construction. The 1890s had seen the introduction of the home insurance building, the world's first steel-frame skyscraper, forever changing the way buildings were designed. Architects like Louis Sullivan, often called the father of modern architecture, rejected the ornate, heavy designs of the past in favor of clean lines and functional forms. His philosophy, form follows function, became a guiding principle, shaping not just Chicago's buildings, but urban architecture worldwide. The city's bold, innovative designs were a reflection of its spirit, driven by the relentless pursuit of progress and a desire to shape the future with every steel beam and pane of glass. Though artificial intelligence was still a distant dream, the groundwork for the technological revolution that would lead to AI was already being laid in Chicago at the turn of the century. The mechanization that defined the city's industrial landscape, from factories to transportation systems, hinted at a future where machines would not only serve humans, but think and learn. Early examples of data-driven systems and automation were beginning to take shape, pointing toward the concepts of computation and machine intelligence. Chicago's engineers and inventors, inspired by the Industrial Revolution, began to experiment with mechanical systems designed to analyze and process data. Machines like the punch card systems, first used in the 1890 U.S. Census, signaled the beginning of computational thinking. While these devices were rudimentary by today's standards, they laid the intellectual and practical foundation for the digital age. Visionaries like Herman Hollerith, who would later develop the first electromechanical tabulating machine, represented a key step toward the intelligent machines of the future. In the late 19th century, electricity transformed Chicago from a city of gaslit streets into a beacon of modernity. The introduction of electric power brought not just light, but the possibility of an entirely new world. Chicago was one of the first cities in the world to implement a full-scale electric street lighting system, starting with the installation of the first electric streetlights in 1880. This innovation didn't just brighten the city's streets, it changed how people lived and worked, extending the day well into the night and igniting the engines of industry. Beyond streetlights, the electric grid powered factories, businesses, and homes, sparking a new age of production and innovation. Visionaries like George Westinghouse, who championed alternating current, AC, played a pivotal role in spreading electricity's reach. By 1900, Chicago was not only a hub of commerce and culture, but a testament to the transformative power of electricity, laying the foundation for future advances in automation, communications, and even computation. Behind the rapid rise of Chicago's technological and architectural advancements were the people who built it: immigrants, laborers, entrepreneurs, and visionaries from around the world. Chicago's transformation was not only a story of steel and glass, but of cultural diversity and human resilience. By 1900, the city had become a beacon for immigrants, particularly from Europe, who arrived seeking better opportunities. They brought with them not only their labor, but their ideas, skills, and ambition, playing an indispensable role in shaping the city's future. Workers flooded into the industrial factories that powered Chicago's growth, while others contributed to the arts, business, and education. This blend of cultures created a dynamic, multicultural city where different backgrounds converged to push boundaries and innovate. The city's labor force, often under difficult, exploitative conditions, helped construct the very infrastructure that would become the heart of modern American capitalism. Chicago was not just a place of innovation, but a living example of how people from all walks of life can reshape the world. As the 20th century dawned, Chicago stood as a city of limitless possibilities. It wasn't just the remarkable skyscrapers or the technological innovations, it was the vision of a future that was actively being built. The city was a living laboratory for new ideas where architects, industrialists, and engineers worked hand in hand to turn the impossible into reality. The advancements made in Chicago during this time would not only shape the city's trajectory, but would lay the groundwork for the modern world we know today. In many ways, Chicago represented the quintessential American dream, a place where hard work, ingenuity, and ambition could overcome any obstacle. The foundations laid by the visionaries of the 1900s, whether in architecture, transportation, or industry, became the blueprint for future global development. As the city evolved, so too did its ideas, pushing the boundaries of what technology, architecture, and society could achieve. Chicago had transformed, and in doing so, it had set the stage for the future. By focusing on the technological advances, people, and cultural shifts of Chicago at the turn of the 20th century, the script will unfold a story not just of buildings and machines, but of a city that foresaw the future. Chicago was a place where AI, automation, and innovation weren't just dreams, they were in the air, waiting to be realized.